Alright then my friends, so by now we should be getting pretty comfortable with the basics of Vue.js and also how we can use the Vue CLI to create a more robust workflow with Vue as well. We should understand components and Vue files, how to transfer data between those components via props or events, and also the component lifecycle and how we can use those different lifecycle hooks to grab data. So now I want to introduce another important concept when it comes to building apps with Vue, and that is the Vue router. So what is the Vue router and why do we need one? Well, let's think what we've been doing so far. We've been creating different components, for example, comp1, comp2, comp3. And then if we wanted to render those components onto the web page, onto the browser, what we do is we nest them directly into the root component because we know that this root component, app.vue, is always rendered to the DOM. And we've always been going to the same URL in the address bar, localhost 8080 /. We never go to /about or /contact. It's always just this kind of home page, if you will, and everything gets rendered to that page. Now, this is not really the way real applications work. Sometimes we want to go to /about or /content and then see different content dependent on what address we go to. For example, if we went to /about, we'd maybe want to load an about component into the root component then. Alright, so how do we do this? Well, that is when the Vue router comes into play. What we do is we place a Vue router tag into this root component. Then, when a user goes to a different address, for example /1 or /2, what we do then is tell the Vue router to load in a specific component into that tag dependent on the address. Okay, so if they go to /about, for example, we say, hey, Vue router, I want to configure you so that when a user goes to this address, I want to show the about component inside the router tag in the root component right here. So that's how we're dynamically injecting these components into the root component dependent on what the user visits, what address the user visits. But this root component, again, is always being rendered to the DOM. That always stays there. We just dynamically inject other components into it via the Vue router dependent on the address. Okay? Now, one thing to clear up as well, when we go to these addresses using the Vue router, we're not actually making additional requests to the server. It's all being handled by Vue.js, so it's very quick and very efficient. So, to explain the Vue router a little bit more, I think what we'll need to do is start up a fresh Vue project using the Vue CLI, and that will also give you a bit more practice with the Vue CLI. Alright then, so first of all, you'll notice I'm in the Vue-Firebase directory down here in the terminal. Also, all of the files and folders from this directory I've deleted from the last chapter. We don't need those anymore, so this is a clean directory. So we want to set up now a new Vue project using the Vue CLI again. So how do we do that? We say Vue, init, and then the template name that we want to use. Last chapter we used webpack-simple. Now we don't want to use that this time. We want to use a different template called webpack. And the difference is this will generate some boilerplate router code for us, and we'll go through that in a minute. So Vue init webpack, then the name of our project, which I will call routing. Alright, so press enter and that's going to install this project for us. So let's go through these questions. Project name, routing, that's fine. Project description, that's fine as well. Author is me. Yep, runtime plus compiler. Install the Vue router. Now we want to say yes to this to make sure we install that. We don't want to use ESLint. We don't want to set up unit tests or Nightwatch. Yes, use npm, and this will install all of the dependencies for us. Okay then, so now that's finished installing. You can see to get started, we need to cd into the routing folder, so we'll do that. And then to spin up a local development server, we can say npm run dev. Now, we're not going to do that in this video. We'll do that in the next video. For now, I just want to show you through this folder that it's created for us. In the routing folder, we have this source folder, which is where we'll do most of our work again. So we can see now we have a router folder right here. If we click in there, we have this index file. We also have this components folder as well, which is where we're going to place most of our components. We have this extra one, which we didn't have in the last chapter, called Hello World. We also have app.vue here. Now, if we take a look at this, we can see this router view tag right here. So when we request a certain page, this is where that component is loaded in. For example, when we request hello world, then it's going to get loaded in right here. Now, where do we set up these different routes? Well, we'll take a look at this properly in the next video, but just as a quick preview, you can see inside the router folder in index.js. So you can see we're setting up a new router right here, and this is where we define the routes. So when someone goes to just /, what we're saying is we want to load up the component hello world, which is this thing, into the router. So that means that the hello world component gets loaded in to this thing right here. All right. If we were to change this to something like hello, then it means when someone goes to / hello, then load up this component. Okay. So we'll take a look at this file and how this all works in more detail in the next video.